First, you'll get paid for what you do. Then you'll get paid for what you know. And if you get there, eventually you can get paid for who you are. Deal with the consequences of your actions. Me and you and most men are fully aware that we make certain choices in our life, and when we make those choices, sometimes they're hard forks that alter our life in one way or the other, and that's just the way it is. And that's the way life is going to be now, and it's irrevocably changed. So was it worth it? Maybe. If something good comes out of it, then I'm glad it happened. So I just got to enjoy the ride, I guess. I can't see her crying every day, can I? So that's why I'm fighting so hard. And I'll continue to fight. But when someone sits there and says, oh, Andrew and Tristan Tate, they come from money. They come from a wealthy family. Oh, they didn't make it all themselves. They got helped out by X, Y, and Z. That offends me. You see, that offends me more than being called any type of criminal. Because, a lie about me will bounce off. But when you are lying in a way that discredits the hard work that I've put in and discredits, I guess, my work ethic and my intellect and everything I put into having the life that I have now, then I get offended. From living in America broke, I moved to England when I was 8. I lived in a homeless shelter for 2 years. It was me, my sister, my brother, and my mother in a single room of a government housing program house. The other rooms were occupied by other families, some of them with drug problems, violence problems, very loud. We lived in that homeless shelter for 2 years before we were eventually given a council house. My mother worked as a cleaner, cleaning kitchens. Her hands were always, cut and swollen up. And that motivation of seeing your mother exhausted from working jobs that frankly are beneath her. I don't want my mother scrubbing someone else's floors, washing someone's plates in someone else's restaurant. I didn't want that. So I wanted better for her and my whole family, not just better for myself. And this was way before I even thought of having children. But as a man, I think it was always my job to do better. I knew that I was gifted with something. I knew I could make something out of life. And we never turned to crime, even in the early days, which is actually a very interesting point that I'll go in on for a second. So we started kickboxing. It was enough to pay the bills. We lived in a very bad town, a very rough town. All of your English friends and staff here will know how bad that town is. And back then I would get offers to commit crimes for money. I'd get offers for go and collect money from these people. They owe these dealers money. You're a big kickboxer. Protect us when we go here. Maybe move this package A to package B. And I refused every single offer to commit any crime for money. I'd rather spend my time at the kickboxing gym and keep my head down. Well, growing up poor was a blessing. I wouldn't change it. Well, every conversation my brother and I have ever had when we were broke somehow revolved around money. And we've run many businesses that did well for a little bit, then failed. We've tried to launch projects using the last of our money.
And you
that
were doing this together? Right?
Always together. I couldn't have imagined it any other way. We tried to bring various drinks we like from Eastern Europe to sell in UK supermarkets, set up meetings, invested all of our last money in this project. Everyone told us no and failed. We had this idea once to set up a system where people could run, remember those competitions or win a vacation, text this to this number. We tried to middleman that and allow other people to run text competitions on a premium rate phone line that we set up. And we set it up and tried to market it, lost all of our money. Once again, we were broke eating ramen noodles. So we've tried everything. I mean, we've done all sorts of failed and successful businesses over the years. And I think it was just persistence that got us there. A lot of people are going to get, kicked in the nuts and take a fall, and they're going to let it beat them down. Andrew's lost very important kickboxing matches. Did he quit fighting then? Did I quit fighting when I got my ass kicked a couple times? No, you don't. You just have to continue, because in life, there are only winners and losers. There are no participation trophies. There's no, stickers and everyone's invited to have a good time. Life is hard. And everyone in life is actually trying to play the same game. If you're a sportsman, you like racquetball, I've heard.
Yeah.
There's a small pool of people who play racquetball, and you have to compete within that pool to be the best, and maybe you become the world champion. There's a small pool of people who compete at kickboxing, professional soccer, and the bigger the pool is, the more difficult it is. Well, life is the only game where every single one of us 8.1 billion people is trying to play the exact same game. And the same game is, there's only so much money in the world, there's only so many resources, there's only so much happiness. I'm going to try to provide for my family as best as I can. And whether people say money's not important or is important, everyone's part of this game. So winning is very difficult. And you have to keep trying when you get kicked and you fall down. And that's the advice I give to every young man who listens to me.
I don't like the word failure. Okay? I always looked at it as if this didn't work, it's a learning experience. How am I going to figure it out and do better the next time? Or, okay, this didn't work. I got to get on to something else. So you have that entrepreneurial spirit and that determination and motivation. That's what started you on this path right now. It's always been work. This is working. And now I got this.
You didn't just get fortunate. I'll tell you, before the internet existed, when you were living that interesting life that you used to live, that everyone wants to hear about, that everyone wants to know the stories on, you didn't realize it at the time, but you were building your online brand then. It's not about fortunate, because if you had done none of the things you'd done, not lived the life that you had lived, you could have tried a million times harder to become a face on the internet and no one would care who you are and nobody would listen to you. So again, when you say it takes a decade of work, in your case, 4 or 5 decades to become an overnight success, you were putting the work in way before the internet even existed.
No, you're right.
It wasn't fortunate. It was, it may not have been 100% purposefully done, but it was done and it was done the right way. I used to work in a McDonald's drive-thru. I'm not ashamed of myself. I made hamburgers. I'm proud of it. You got paid for what you do, paid for what you know, and now you're getting paid for who you are. Yeah. And you deserve it because you've been through all the hardships that's creating the person who's I guess sitting in front of me. I want every fan of mine to build a life like me and end up in the position I'm in. I'm trying to drag people up, not bore them or, talk garbage or encourage them to play video games or do drugs. I'm trying to drag all the young people up, needing to make money because my mom was working. I didn't just sit home and think, oh, well, she's my mom, this bitch better work. Did I? I thought, this is unacceptable that I'm as smart as I am and my mother's cleaning people's kitchens. I'm going to take care of my mother.
Right.
She flies on private jets now and always will, whether they put me in jail or not. It's in God's hands. And like I said, they can't make me care. They can't scare me. They can't bully me. They can't make me cry. They can't make me break down. They can't make me plead guilty to something I didn't do. I'd rather just go to jail because everyone I love is fine, jail or not. Mm-hmm. So, and that's, I guess, the side effect of being a hardworking, smart individual who set his life up in the right way. I ain't scared of prison.